Yeah, who is that guy?
Hi, my name is Stefan Taylor, and welcome to my mind, as it were. And this is the making of the Marchetti Family Values, which is an audio series I created with some co-collaboration from a couple of people. Chris, I won't say your last name, but you've had a major contribution into the show, into the development of the characters and whatnot. And I'm here just to tell you a little bit about the story and some of the characters and what kind of inspired me to create this kind of audio series. So the Marchetti Family Values is the kind of side story of a book that I've been writing called The Last Stories of the Lost Detective or something like that. It's a bit of a working title, but it basically centers around a detective, a private eye called John Payne. Sorry, I've got hair in my eye. It's a bit annoying. Just brush you over there. Called John Payne. And he's a bit of a hard-boiled alcoholic detective that you find in all of those old school detective novels like Dick Tracy. It's like if Dick Tracy was not doing very well. Yeah. So the basic concept of John Payne came from a friend and I. We were kind of talking about it back and forth and thinking, what could we do? We were really into this noir game called Max Payne. Sorry, I've really got some eye trouble here at the minute. We kind of float around the idea of doing something around the Max Payne kind of neo-noir, and then we're still kind of in the work in progress of doing it. So I kind of branched off and did the Marchetti Family Values, which is it's about the crime family that exists in the John Payne series, the JPU as it's known in certain circles, the John Payne universe. And what is what the story kind of is about? It's kind of about the internal struggles and dynamic of the crime family, with its more or less kind of with a specific group of people in the crime family. The crime family is told to be quite large and whatnot, but these are the kind of influential people within it. So at the top we have Jimmy Marchetti, who is mentioned in the show, but he hasn't turned up yet because he's he is in prison at the moment. And remember, this story is in 1963. All the characters created are all fictional. They're all fictional. They're all created by me. Myself. They have nothing to do with real life people. If any coincidences are there, it's purely coincidental. There's nothing about this show that is real. It's not meant to emulate real people. It is entirely a work of fiction. Okay? So at the head is, like I said, Jimmy Marchetti. And below him is a guy, the underboss, and one of the longest serving families of the Marchettis, of the Marchetti family, is Giovanni, which is my favorite character in the thing. And he is the underboss and kind of acting boss of the family at the moment. And he kind of has this personal assistant / kind of driver named Giuseppe. And Giuseppe is the owner of an Italian restaurant in New Jersey, which is entirely fiction, I'm pretty sure, called Dino's Italian. So the kind of reason I chose Dino's Italian is because I'm a big Dean Martin fan. I love Dino. I think he's definitely my favorite crooner. And there's actually this cool album called, he's like live at the Sands Casino, and he just spends an hour and a half talking and schmoozing the guests and singing a couple songs and telling jokes, and it made me really fall in love with Dean Martin. And my grandma used to listen to all the old crooners like Frankie, Sammy Davis Jr. and Dino, and yeah, I just fell in love with Dino. Like he's the best. He's an artist I can listen to every day for sure. Anyway, so one of the other characters in this is a guy named Angelo, and he is a soldier slash capo regime, which means he's a captain, so he's more or less in charge of a crew. So is my understanding of the whole mafioso kind of hierarchy. And then there's a guy named Jackie Balboni. He's up there for being one of my favorite characters as well. I like Jackie Balboni, but he was made the same time as Angelo. So when you're made, it's kind of like you're a family member. You know, you're no longer an outsider. You can start making moves within the family, speaking for the family. You know, or you know, being more of a member of the family, right? So Jackie and Angelo have this kind of really good history where they both grew up together. They're really good friends, but Jackie had an unfortunate circumstance where he ended up going to prison for a couple of years. And in that time, Angelo kind of excelled and became a capo regime. So they're the same age, but Angelo's a little bit ahead in life, as it were. And that leaves us with our last character in the series is a guy named Leonard Sweetwater. And I'm not a voice actor. I guess I do voice stuff for me, you know. I've always done kind of voice imitation and that. But mimicking or whatever, the lowest form of talent, whatever. But doing all these different voices, pretending to be a Southern gentleman like Leonard Sweetwater is quite fun. So he's an outsider of the family, and he is trying to. Jimmy Marchetti loses money to Sweetwater and to some other mafiosos, and Leonard Sweetwater offers to pay all his debts in return for some real estate properties that Jimmy owns and a more kind of active involvement in the family. So that's kind of like your kind of background, more or less, story of the Marchetti situation at the moment. So I'm actually recording the last episode this week, so there's only one more episode to the season. So I figured it was a good opportunity to throw in some supplemental content as well to kind of bring it all back to what kind of was the inspiration. The kind of inspiration for me to do a audio series was shows like, there was an audio show back in the day by a guy named Orson Welles, and he did a series called War of the Worlds, and it was basically an audio series about how aliens came and took over the world. You remember the Tom Cruise movie, War of the Worlds? Maybe 06, 07 or something like that. And then there was another one called... I can't remember now. I can't remember the other one. But that was one of my inspirations because I thought it's more or less... There are audio stories out there for sure. There are, like, you know, your true crime audio stories, but I couldn't find any ones like this, you know, not true crime, but gangster-esque, you know, which I think is kind of cool. You know, I think a lot of people like gangster stuff, you know. And one of the other inspirations was one of my favorite comic books to read is a little comic book series about the Punisher called Punisher Noir. It actually takes place in the kind of like 1940s kind of thing, the 1950s. I think it might be early 1930s, I think, around the kind of end of Prohibition, that kind of era. And it centers around Frank Castle, who in this universe is Frank Castellano. So, you know, he's more Italian. And there's a show within the comic book on a radio show called The Punisher. So these writers thought it'd be cool to tell the Punisher story through an audio show who fights bad guys and, you know, stops evil and whatever. And then the Frank Castellano, he actually, you know, gets the idea from the radio to be the Punisher, which is, you know, kind of cool as well. So I thought that's a really cool idea and a cool concept that is kind of, how would you say, it's not dead. it's not a dying art, but there's not a lot of that kind of audio based content out there. And yeah, I think it's cool. It'd be cool to make. So there you have it. I won't keep you too long. That was kind of all I wanted to say. I'll come back and do some more. Maybe when it's nighttime, I'll do some PM content, I guess. And thank you for listening and watching. And stay tuned for more videos like this if you're interested in the making and the kind of thought process of making these characters. Let me know in the comments if you want to see or you want to hear about a specific character, or I'll put links to where you can find my podcast and where you can find the Marchetti family values and whatnot. And yeah, like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more episodes about the making of. And I do gaming and stuff, so look out for that kind of stuff. So thank you for watching, and we'll speak soon, I imagine. See you next time.
Hey, yeah, who is that guy?